somebody jumps out into the middle of the road? What if kids are playing in the middle of the road? What happens to that automobile if the vehicle is told to stop whenever there's somebody in the road? I might actually be pretty happy to go out and throw a ball with my son in the middle of the road if I knew that the cars weren't going to run me over. Maybe you'd actually even want to send your kids out into the street so that the cars don't drive down your street and drive down some other street, so that you have the peace of having a street without cars, because the kids are playing there and cars can't get by. Are automotive vehicles actually going to be able to pay attention to the customer's needs? Now we're starting to get into can this thing actually start to think? If there's somebody who's sick in the vehicle, what's it going to do? Will it know to go more slowly? Will you have a way of communicating if you get caught trying to get out the door and you're stuck and you can't go? Is it going to say, well, that person's not sitting in the seat any longer, whoop, here we go? There are, in fact, some moral dilemmas that we have to address in terms of automotive vehicles. The one that I have heard often referred to is you're driving down the street and all of a sudden 4 kids come running out in front of the car. You have a choice. You run into the 4 kids, you slam on the brakes, you try and hope it will stop in time, or you swerve and you might run off the road and you might kill yourself, because the car might run into a brick wall or something. So, for humans, we don't make that decision ahead of time. The human is going to automatically either say, I can't kill those kids, I've got to swerve and take their own risk of their own life, or I'm going to hope that those tires really do stop me in time and that I'm going to be able not to kill those kids and not kill myself. But with automated vehicles, we actually got to decide that ahead of time. How are we going to do that? How do you make that moral decision about, are we going to kill the kids or kill myself, the driver, the person riding in the vehicle, when the automated vehicle, in theory, is going to know exactly how good those tires are and how wet the surface is and how long it takes to actually stop and how far away those kids are. And might actually, by being able to see how strong that brick wall is that it's going to turn the car into, and know whether it's going to kill the passenger or not when it runs into the brick wall. So I think that how we're going to deal with important moral dilemmas, not going any faster than the speed limit, going past the school slowly, but also driving safely so that no one gets killed. This is a very big challenge, I think, and one that is ahead of us when it comes to automated vehicles. Now, who will those automated vehicles be? My sense, I was talking with Lenny before the gathering here, is that there is a spot where we are very poorly served in terms of public transportation right now. If we take the continuum from private cars to taxi cabs and Ubers and Lyfts, and then vans of various sorts that are often private vans that are being run around to take you to a hospital or whatever, and the special services like the ride, and then we have buses, and then we have rails of various sort, rapid transit trolleys, high-speed rail, or commuter rails, high-speed rails. We've got this continuum. And some of them are going to be easily automated because they are exclusive rights of way and have fewer decisions. And some are never going to be automated because we're probably, for quite a long time, going to be able to afford to have a car to take the whole family off on a summer vacation when a private vehicle gets you off into the woods in ways that it's really hard to imagine that public transportation is ever going to do very well for you. But the spot that I think is not well served, that buses maybe try to serve at the end of a transit line, but there isn't really enough demand to run that bus more than every half hour or every hour at night, maybe not after the last transit line gets to the end of the line at midnight or 12:30, even though the bars let out at 1 o'clock. How do we get that person home? How do we deal with people who are now using the ride, or people who have large shopping bags, or the kids who want to get to football with all that gear? How do we deal with getting folks in wheelchairs or who are blind around? And it seems to me that a small vehicle that is programmable, that would do so automatically, be automated, may be something we really need in that continuum from walking or bicycling down to high-speed rails between that we don't have very today. So what is my idea? What would be a useful and very important vehicle, automated vehicle, to fit into the mix transportation vehicles that's our city? I would say first, every one of those vehicles ought to be accessible to everyone. So it's got to work in a wheelchair. It's got to work for everybody whenever it comes, all the time. It's got to bust. It's got to be able to outsmart the vandals, who are actually going to try to do the damage or try to create havoc standing in front of it when they just want to stand in front of it. See what it does. It's got on the outside so it can go to local streets and go into the parking lot in the shopping mall. And it's got to be big on the inside so the whole crowd of football players can get in after, or maybe you get 2 or 3 of them, so that the whole team can get to where they want to go. It needs to be courteous, so it's not going to be a Boston driver. So it doesn't even have a horn. Oh my God. What would we do with having a horn? It's got to be smart. It's got to know to go slowly past the school. It's got to be good looking. Everybody ought to be proud that they're riding in this thing rather than think, oh God, I've got to get in that ugly thing. Again, people are going to know that I'm using this piece of public transportation. I'm not able to afford a car of my own. It'll be automatic payment, so you don't have to with the right change. We can charge different people different based on how much they earn. And it'll help us make responsible decisions. We can walk 3 blocks to get one that comes more quickly, maybe pay a little bit less on days that we can do that. And yet, if we're coming home with a whole bag, it'll know to go right in front of the door. I see potential that can fill a very great need if we're headed in that direction and see responsibility as that of everybody in the metropolitan area at all times and in ways that actually ensure that everybody stays. Thanks.
Thanks, Ken.
Okay, thank you. My name is Alison Felix, and I'm a senior transportation planner